Welcome, everybody. So nice to see you guys all here. We are so excited to get this started. This is our program, Marriage, Parenting, and the Space Between Them. We're here with you. We have an hour with you today to talk about this seemingly impossible balancing act, the Marriage, Parenting, Balancing Act, something that is impacting all of us at this stage of life. We want to start by asking you a question. When was the last time you felt truly seen by your partner? Not just asked about the grocery list, not just asked about the kid's schedule or who's picking up which kid and which afternoon calendar activities is going on today. When was the last time you felt truly seen, truly admired as a person, and truly connected to your partner? Have you ever heard about the term roommate syndrome? If you've ever felt like two ghosts passing each other in the hallway, living in the same house but feeling miles apart, you're not alone. At Marriage, Parenting, and the Space Between Them, we call this the roommate syndrome.
So let's talk about the roommate syndrome. You may still be talking plenty, but the conversations are more logistics, not about life. The passion, the excitement, the vulnerability that got you together get all buried underneath all your to-do list. And no, it doesn't happen overnight. It begins when the demands of life, of working, of parenting, of the day-to-day take a priority over your connection, okay? It is when the biggest source of what used to be your biggest source of joy becomes your biggest source of loneliness. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, how did you get there? What got you there? Well, welcome. That's why we are here today. We're here to talk exactly about all those issues, but moreover, we're here to talk about today how to get back to each other, how to rebuild connection, and how to do all this without losing yourself in the process.
Please allow us to introduce ourselves. My name is Dr. Sharon Arbel. I am a clinical psychologist. I'm a mom of three amazing boys, and I've been married for 16 years. I own a group practice in Los Angeles where I train and supervise new therapists and psychologists, and I see my own client caseload. For over 20 years, parenting and marriage and relationships has been my wheelhouse. This is what I specialize in. This is what I do day in and day out. And I see couples and parents using what I call a differentiation of self model. Differentiation of self doesn't care what culture you're in, what age you are, we all have the same problem. We are all working in the same journey of emotional maturity to develop an emotional backbone while deepening our relationships at the same time.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liron Samara, licensed marriage and family therapist. I own a practice called Therapy Ties in Woodland Hills. I'm also one of the founders of a nonprofit organization called Beyachad that we help people in the Los Angeles community to get whatever they need in their immediate needs. In addition to it, my biggest role, I'm a mother of four little ones that I love dearly, and they drive me insane. I'm happily married. I hope he's here, so I have to say happily. And other than that, I am very, very passionate about the work that I do. And I'm super excited that Sharon and I got together to actually present to you the work that we are so, so passionate about. I really hope you guys are going to take at least one thing from today to make your marriage different, to make your relationship with yourself different. So let's get started.
So here's the difference. We are not just doing this work, we're living this work. Because we are both married and we are both mothers, we're living this. It's not just out of a textbook. We've both felt the pressures of kids, careers, bills, and the daily grind. And like many of you, we've had to ask ourselves, how do we keep our marriage alive in the middle of all of this? That's why we do this work. So we have an hour with you. And in the next hour, we are not going to fix your marriage, but we are going to shine a light on the real struggles that couples face. We're going to open your eyes to new ways of relating, new ways of communicating, show you a different path forward. It does not have to be this way. We can't fix everything in 1 hour, but we can give you tools and insights that can transform your marriage if you choose to use them.
We want to point out the real change begins the moment you choose to show up differently. When each partner takes 100% responsibility for their own past, for their own trauma, for their own triggers, for their own actions, for their own emotions, and not trying to fix the other person, that is when the relationship has finally the room to grow. That's where healing, I'm sorry, I'm distracted by people coming in. That's where healing, clarity, and genuine connection can actually take place.
So, what do you think are some of the common issues in marriage? I know you're living with them, and I know you're thinking they're only yours. They're only happening in your marriage, in your household. Well, I'm here to tell you different because we do this work day in and day out. The issues are all the same in your house, in my house, in all the other households. Let's talk about some of them. In first place, because every couple is convinced this is their top issue, communication breakdown. Conversations begin to shift. They go from genuine connection to more logistics. Who's picking up the kids replaces how was your day? Small misunderstandings quickly escalate into arguments or lead to quiet withdrawal. One partner begins to feel unheard or dismissed, and unaddressed feelings, well, they build up and they gradually turn into resentment.
Money and power dynamics. Conflicts that arise due to spending, saving, or who controls the financial situation. Sometimes one partner may hold more financial power, either because they just earn more or because they manage the money, and that could cause in the relationship imbalance and tension. These financial struggles often reflect on deeper issues such as safety, control, autonomy, and trust.
Unmet expectations. Each partner, each of you here, carries an unspoken love contract with assumptions like if my partner really cared, they would fill in the blank. Except the problem is the other person doesn't even know this exists. It's yours, and you probably haven't shared it. And when these needs aren't clearly communicated, disappointment and frustration slowly build up over time.
Changes after parenthood. Identity shifts dramatically from lovers to partners to co-managers in life. Time that you used to have for your relationship shrinks to logistics and responsibilities that you have to take care. Intimacy dies both emotionally and physically. It often declines under the weight of the exhaustion and the constant demands. We don't have much energy for each other.
And different coping styles. One partner might withdraw under stress. The other partner might seek closeness and reassurance under stress. The pursue withdraw pattern is going to lead to this feedback loop that deepens the conflict and leaves both partners feeling lonely and misunderstood.
Emotional disconnection. Partners stop feeling like teammates or close friends. The affection and the small moments of appreciation starts to fade away. And emotional intimacy gradually is being replaced by routine, the distance, and the simply trying to roll through the day, your to-do list. Over time, partners may even stop bringing up concerns to each other because they don't feel they have someone who truly want to listen to them. That actually creates a lot more of the distance and the disconnection.
Unresolved past patterns. Listen, we all have a past, and nobody here left their childhood unscathed. Childhood wounds and family dynamics end up shaping how partners express love, how they handle conflict, how they manage emotional needs, right? These are family of origin issues that show up in our marriage. They're alive and well. We have old internal narratives. Maybe it sounds like I have to do everything alone, or nobody gets me, or I can't rely on anybody. That gets replayed inside the marriage. There's a famous saying in our field that goes, we marry our unfinished business, and it couldn't be more true. We end up marrying our unresolved issues and we just do this dance with them, the dance that we carried into the marriage from our families of origin. Partners focus on the other person, on each other as the source of the problem. And they really truly believe, each of us truly believes, if they would just change, everything would be better. But without awareness of these deeper patterns that we bring into our marriage, couples get stuck in these never-ending cycles, wondering why do things keep unfolding in the same painful way, despite their best intentions.
I need equal emotional and practical load. When one partner feels they have to carry more than the other, it's either emotionally, mentally, physically, just name it. The imbalance can lead to burnout, frustration, and quite resentment, often experienced as I'm just doing it all. It's all on me. It's very lonely and again, deepening the disconnection.
So let's focus on the common issue of disconnection. Let's talk about a challenge that we see in so many different relationships, right? The issue is disconnection. And it's not a personal failing, and it's not just happening in your household. This is a global epidemic. It is a generational phenomenon. And if you think about the ways in which we are living our lives, it makes total sense. In addition, I don't know if you know this, but you are part of the sandwich generation. Welcome. The sandwich generation means that you and I will be simultaneously tending to the needs of our young children as we will be caring for our aging parents. That's what it means to be in the sandwich generation. So these are adults, usually in their 30s to their 50s, who are doing this dual job and breaking down under this significant stress, time pressure, and emotional strain. It doesn't just impact your schedule. It's not just logistics. Yes, you are busier. There's a lot more to adulting in life these days, right? But it actually affects your emotional functioning. It affects your body, your brain functioning. You're supporting kind of two generations. And what ends up falling by the wayside is your own self-care, which very quickly, as you can imagine, and you're probably feeling, leads to burnout.
We live in a world nowadays that everyone seems connected, but yet very few of us really feel connected. Our attention is being pulled 100 different directions. So if it's our phones, our Instagram, Facebook, work, kids, endless responsibilities, like the days are not long enough. What used to feel like a nurturing relationship in the beginning now starts to feel like an obligation. Remember what we said about the roommate syndrome? The conversations tend to revolve, around logistics. Who's picking up the kids? Who's paying the bills? Who's running late? Who's making dinner? But all those talking doesn't mean connection. Something that Sharon and I talked about, and we both see a lot in our offices, is when one partner will say, I feel we don't talk enough, and the other will respond and say, what are you talking about? We talk like 20 times a day, right? It's not about how many times you talk. It's about how you connect. It's about how you show up for each other. And over time, as I said in the beginning, the passion, the excitement, and even the mystery that first brought you together is being replaced by the routine, is being replaced by the day-to-day, is being replaced by your endless to-do list. And when the disconnection goes on for too long, the relationship can stop feeling like something you chose and starts feeling like something you are obligated to maintain. And you start feeling invisible, unchosen, and at times even unloved. And Sharon,
And then they come.
and then they come. Here they are. They are
The
here.
arrival of our amazing children adds a huge layer to the already complex situation. Listen, they're the biggest gift in life, okay? That without getting cheesy, this is the point of life. They are the most rewarding experience. Parenting is an incredibly rewarding experience. But to pretend as if they don't complicate the marriage, well, that's just silly. They add an incredibly complex layer to an already complex situation. It does create a rift between partners. All of a sudden, your time, your energy, your attention undergo a complete overhaul. You have to renegotiate your roles. You have to renegotiate your rules in the home, your responsibilities, where love and focus should be directed, how to split those resources. Suddenly, there's more points of contention, right? There's more reasons to argue. There are more logistics to manage. There's greater exhaustion. There's increased opportunities for one partner to feel overburdened and underappreciated. Marital dynamics end up getting reshuffled at this stage in life. One parent might become the expert, and the other person gets sidelined, criticized, maybe overlooked, maybe even gets treated like a highly paid intern. And that causes a problem for couples.
While we try to keep up with all this fatigue and exhaustion, there is another issue that kind of crawls up, and it's called the blame game. Don't you love the keep score? I want to see all of your guys' score sheet on your notes. We all have it, right? Who did more? Who cooked dinner? Who asked for sex late, last, right? We all have this invisible score sheet. And the burnout. The burnout from parenting and trying to build a life together, and it turns into a competition. Who does more? Who's winning? Who, again, as I said, we can keep bringing more and more examples of who's more, right? But in the end, guys, no one wins because the relationship slowly shifts from a chosen partnership to something that feels like an obligation. Resentment builds, loneliness deepens, and everyone, guys, I'm sorry to break it down to you, everyone feels unseen and undervalued and disconnected. When we start slipping into this thing that is called a survival mode, we're no longer trying to have a thrived or connected relationship, where we're just trying to make it through the day with no fights, least amount of drama, so we can get it over with. And the saddest part of it all is how easily we start accepting it as the new norm. That's the status quo. That is what our marriage is going to be destined to. Always feeling this way, stuck, stagnant, and unchanging, instead of what was the first initial idea of getting married, is evolving and growing together.
But let's talk about the real problem. The admiration that once came so naturally gets replaced by frustration, by irritation, by indifference. We used to feel like we were here in this shared journey, and now we're on two separate paths, parallel lives, side by side, no longer fully intertwined. Here's the key point. Most couples come into my office and say, "We have a communication problem." And I say, "No, you don't. You're communicating just fine. You don't like what you're hearing, but you're communicating just fine." Communication is not the core issue, even though I know you are fully convinced that communication is your issue. We could give you every tool in the world, scripts, skills, techniques, and it still wouldn't fix what's underneath, because a lack of communication is just the symptom of the real problem. The real problem is disconnection. When you don't feel connected, every conversation gets charged. Every disagreement feels personal. Every silence gets louder and louder. That's when you see the arguments, the nagging, the passive-aggressive comments, the scorekeeping, the blame game. But these are just signals. They're just surface level symptoms pointing to the real painful truth. The deeper wound that you are dealing with is a lack of intimacy. So let's talk about what is intimacy. Intimacy isn't just about sex. It's about real, authentic, vulnerable connection. When I say intimacy, people hear sex. Sex is one type of intimacy, and we go into, in our 6-week course, we go into depth on intimacy. But let's just discuss it briefly today. Intimacy is real, authentic, vulnerable connection. It's the feeling of being known, of being able to be fully yourself, good, bad, and ugly, and still feel loved and accepted and emotionally safe with your partner. This is the goal. There's so many ways to experience intimacy. You could experience intimacy in deep conversations. You could have shared moments of laughter. You could have meaningful experiences, emotional openness, physical touch, and yes, also sex. Sex is one important expression of intimacy, okay? I don't want to undervalue sex because when sex doesn't work in a relationship, the relationship will not work. So it's important. It's just not the whole picture. In simplest terms, intimacy is the courage to show up as your full self with another person. And this is so much harder than we want to believe. Oh, I can be my full self. No, most of us end up cutting out parts of our full self in order to feel really loved in the relationship. But intimacy is this piece where you can feel fully yourself, who you are, what you believe, what you stand for, what you will and will not tolerate, and still feel safe and loved. We know that sexual satisfaction and marital satisfaction are closely linked. When you feel emotionally connected, when you feel emotionally disconnected, you're going to feel sexually disconnected and the opposite, right? But when you feel more like roommates than partners, intimacy eventually fades. And it's also important to remember that this is a stage of life where marital satisfaction and sexual satisfaction naturally dip. When you're juggling young children, you're building your career, you're trying to get financially stable, all couples experience a dip in their marital and sexual satisfaction. It's a stressful season for sure. But knowing that it's normal kind of helps us to be able to navigate it with more patience and compassion, both for ourselves and for our partners. When we rebuild intimacy, we start with reconnection, not with performance. We start with bringing curiosity, not criticism. We start with closeness instead of distance. Because when emotional intimacy grows, then sexual intimacy will follow naturally.
When you lose yourself, you lose the S. This is such a common pain point. Many people wake up one day and they realize how much they've spent years pouring into their partners, their children, their work, their friends, their responsibilities, or simply trying to survive the day to day. And they realize how much they left themselves out. They look in the mirror and they cannot even remember who they were and who they are outside of being a parent, a partner, a provider, a problem solver. They forget what excites them. They forget what brings them joy. They forget what makes them feel alive, even what their dreams used to be. Asking for what they need becomes weird, becomes uncomfortable. Part of the reason they don't really know what they need at this point, but also because they lost hearing their voice for so long. They hear the voices of so many people around them, but they haven't heard their voice in a long time. What most people don't realize that the crucial part isn't losing connection with your partner. The crucial part is losing connection with self. And when that inner connection fades, the relationship often starts feeling flat, distant, transactional. Not because the love is gone, guys. That's really not the reason, but because it's incredibly hard to show up fully when either you or both you and your partner are running on empty. You have nothing to give. You have nothing left over for each other. Rebuilding intimacy doesn't start with the relationship. I'll repeat it. Rebuilding intimacy doesn't start with the relationship. It starts with rediscovering you. Yes, it starts with you. Your desires, your identity, your needs, your emotional world, your goals. You as the center, you. Because when you come home to yourself, You finally have something real and authentic to bring back into your relationship.
The cost of disconnection. Here's the thing. Disconnection doesn't just hurt the couple. It ripples through the entire family system. It impacts the entire home. And I'm sure that you have seen the impacts in your home. But it impacts those family systems for generations. It sets a template for your kids. What does marriage look like? How do we do marriage? When your emotional needs go unmet, we all seek some kind of escape. And some of us call it work, right? We're workaholics. Some of us are addicted to screens. Some of us will run away to substances. Maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's food, maybe it's something else. Some of us to emotional affairs, physical affairs. That's an escape from the pain. It's not that we're bad people. It's because we're trying to feel alive again. We're trying to awaken those parts of selves that we've lost. We mistakenly believe that those quick hits of dopamine are going to reconnect us to ourselves. They won't, not for long, maybe in the moment, but not for long. The tragedy is that the longer this continues, the harder it becomes to find your way back. And then kids, they pick up on this tension. They pick up on the silence. They pick up on the lack of warmth. They internalize it. They learn it as a template. That becomes their love story. That becomes their template for how you do marriage, how you do relationships, how you show up in love. They start to believe that love means distance, or maybe love means walking on eggshells. We want to invite you to do a little exercise. Now, I want to say in advance, this is a really powerful one. I want you to give yourself the opportunity to do this. Do not shortchange yourself. Don't listen to me saying these words and think to yourself, I'll sit this one out. Give yourself this gift. Go through this exercise. It's powerful. I've done it myself. I want to invite you to pause for a moment and truly imagine what your life would look like in 5 years. Picture yourself carrying the same disconnection, the same loss of self, the same lack of intimacy. Picture the same escapes you're using, your partner's using. Picture the same silence in the marriage, in the home. Picture the lingering resentment. Now imagine living under that weight day after day, year after year. If nothing changes, if you did nothing about it, if you keep going the same way, how would it feel? What would it cost you? I want you to imagine what price you are paying in your relationship, in your level of happiness, in the sense of who you are, in your parenting, in your health, your energy, your overall well-being. How is this expressed? This is not just about your relationship. This is about life. Now we're going to go a step further. I'm going to ask you to imagine your life in 20 years. Same loneliness, same resentment, same silence, same distance. You did nothing about it. You let the time pass year after year. You let the distance just stay because life kept you busy, because it's easy to get caught up in the stuff, the fluff. Imagine your life in 20 years. What price are you paying now? What price are you paying in your health, your well-being, your happiness? What price are your kids paying? What price are you paying in your career? This isn't about blame. This is about a choice. You can choose to pause, reflect, and then rebuild, or you can choose to stay the same and let time hijack your life. Change doesn't start with massive action, actually. Change starts with awareness, and awareness is really where healing begins.
We want to talk about something about a term that people have, it has a really bad reputation, actually. Many people think that vulnerability means oversharing or appearing weak. Well, no, it doesn't. And whoever knows me at work and outside of work, it's something that I'm very, very passionate about. True vulnerability is about being real. It's about saying, I'm struggling. I need you. I'm sad. Or you know what? I'm upset. I'm triggered. I'm annoyed. And I don't know why. I have no clue why I woke up like that today. Instead, most people, they hide behind their anger. They're trying to control. They're trying to either controlled by their behavior or just being silent. It takes courage to show up without your armor. But guess what? It's the only way and it's the only path for an authentic love. When both partners choose vulnerability, walls come down. Each person can do the work on themselves. They can show up fully for the other, and they can create a space for true and lasting connection to grow. We cannot stress it enough. Vulnerability, working on self, can help you show up more fully, and not just for your partner, for your kids, for your friends, to work. We speak a lot about an intimate relationship because obviously we came here for the marriage. But working on the self and being courageous to be yourself, it's not just about your marriage. It's about every relationship you have around you.
Connection first, communication follows. When we help couples rebuild emotional connection, everything starts to shift. Their tone, their patience, their curiosity. Once you feel seen, safe, and loved in a relationship, you don't need to fight to be heard. The research is clear. Sexual satisfaction and marital satisfaction are deeply intertwined. When the connection fades, relationships, whether romantic, family relationships, even friendships, they start to feel transactional. But when people feel seen and safe and valued, they naturally open up and they engage more authentically.
But
There's another way back. There's another path, one that leads to this openness that we're talking about, to connection, to courage, to growth. You do not have to live this life of disconnection. This doesn't feel good. The resentment, it doesn't feel good. The tension that you can cut with a knife, the loneliness. But the roadmap that we're going to teach you isn't about quick fixes. It's about rebuilding from the inside out. And of course, we can't do this in this hour. We're going to need more time with you, but there is a different path forward. And it begins with reconnection. We don't just teach couples to communicate. We all know how we should speak to each other. But as we said, communication is not the real problem. So we help couples feel each other again, listen beyond words, tune in emotionally, and rebuild a sense of safety.
as we said before, and we're probably going to say multiple times until the end of this hour, the relationship with yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. By tending to your own emotional life and your own emotional need, you honor your needs, your dreams, your well-being. You create space to give and receive love more fully.
The courage to be seen and the bravery to be truly seen. This is huge. I think most of us don't show up fully in our relationships because we don't want to be seen, because we're not sure that we're good enough, because we don't know if we will be really loved and accepted. True intimacy, we said, was not about sex. It's about emotional nakedness, showing up as you really are. We all have better sides, uglier sides. But when we show up fully, even with our imperfect parts, and we trust that we'll fully be loved or not, somebody won't love this ugly part in us, but we're still valuable as a human being, even with that part. and we can still love ourselves, that changes the whole picture.
Tolerating discomfort. Sharon, that's your biggest passion.
This is huge for me.
Mhm.
I think this is what builds emotional backbones. All the research states successful, happy adults are adults that can tolerate discomfort. It doesn't matter what you want to do in life, you have to be able to tolerate discomfort. Anything worth doing requires discomfort. You want to start a family? Big discomfort. You want to start a business? Huge discomfort. You want to get a graduate degree? You want to go back to school? Lots of discomfort there. Anything worth doing in life requires discomfort. So the ability to tolerate discomfort is critical. And what do we do with discomfort? We wish it away. We don't want to tolerate it. We want to lessen it. We want to run from it. We want it to not exist. But you're not getting anywhere with that. Growth takes courage. Growth necessitates discomfort. Growth is uncomfortable. Here's the thing. We can either be in the growth zone in life or in the in the growth zone or in the comfort zone. You can't do both. If you're growing, you're not comfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. It is vulnerable. Sometimes it's messy. And every honest conversation, every moment of openness builds strength. It builds trust. It builds real partnership. Every difficult moment that you face, instead of escaping, builds resilience. When couples choose this path forward, they don't just survive parenthood, they grow through it. They rediscover each other. They rediscover themselves. They grow as individuals, as human beings. They become better versions of themselves. That's the goal here. They show their children what real love is and what real life looks like, and they create a legacy of connection for everyone around them. I think growth is the only way forward.
As Esther Perel said, my love, Esther Perel. She said, most people are going to have 2 or 3 marriages or committed relationships in their adult life. Some of us will have them with the same person. You can start over, guys. You can start over with someone else. But your patterns, your wounds, your triggers, your trauma, they're right behind you. They're coming with you until you face them. True transformation isn't about changing partners. Sorry. You can try that. It doesn't work. It's about changing the relationship you have with yourself and how you show up in life. At marriage, parenting, and the space between them, we see this over and over again. Couples who commit to growing together often uncover an entirely new marriage within the same relationship. People who know me know I can say, you can divorce this relationship. You don't have to divorce this person, right? It's not just the same love story continuing. It's deeper, it's richer, it's more authentic, it's a more mature relationship. It builds on understanding, trust, and true intimacy.
All right, this is just the beginning. We told you we weren't going to solve your relationship problems in just 1 hour, but hopefully you took away some tools, some insight, some different ways forward. But that's why we created this course. Honestly, we created a 6-week course that dives into each of these topics in depth. It's not about quick tips or tricks. It's about real, lasting transformation. So what we do is over the 6 weeks, we go into these topics. We teach you how to reconnect. How to reconnect to your partner, how to reconnect to yourself, how to understand your emotional patterns. Where did you get them? What did you learn from your family of origin? How does it show up today in your marriage? How to bring warmth and intimacy back into your relationship. Not by changing your partner. We all want to do that. It would be so convenient if I could just give my husband a to-do list of changes that if he could just make these changes, we would all be better. But no, the real goal is to show up differently yourself and together. Here's the truth. If you do the work, and you use the tools that we share, your marriage and your relationship with yourself and your life can massively change in ways you haven't yet imagined. Your relationship really isn't just about getting along. It's not just about a quiet household. Your relationship with your partner is your foundation to your happiness. We spend so much time with our partners through the years. And as our children grow older, we spend more and more time with our partners. And our own happiness, our health, and our kids' emotional well-being really do depend on the quality of that relationship. So I ask you, is it worth it?
So who is this course for? It's for couples, it's for individuals, it's for married people with kids, it's for people with kids. You don't need to have both partner to attend, though it is a bonus, but you need to remember it takes only one person to start a change, to change the relationship. It's for anyone who ever had a thought of, we love each other, but sometimes it feels off, something feels off, or we just don't communicate the way we used to be. Here's the truth. Communication isn't usually the real problem. It's just a symptom. The deeper issue is disconnection. The spark, the curiosity, and the emotional closeness they used to have, you lost it. You do not need another communication trick. Get out of it. It's very fun to say we have a communication problem. We just need a communication course. No, you don't. You know how to speak. You need to feel connected again. We need to feel connection in a world that there is so much disconnection. Because when connection is alive, conversation just flows. It just happens. It's something that we naturally know how to do. But when it's gone, every word can feel like a trigger. If you're feeling unseen, you're feeling unheard, or you're unsure how to get back to the sense of us, this is the place to start.
So here is an outline of our course. We're going to be with you for 6 weeks. Each session, we're going to go into a different topic. You see the topics right here in front of you. We're going to be able to teach you the tools that we know, the things that we do with couples day in and day out to build intimacy from the inside out. Awareness is super powerful, but it's actually not what creates change. Action creates change. And here's your action. The course begins in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. On December 2nd. And because you joined us today, and because Thanksgiving is around the corner and we're super grateful for this opportunity to be here with you guys, to impact change, to develop this course to begin with, we're going to give you a special discount. You're going to get an email from us with a special link to register with a discounted code. Don't miss this chance to change your relationship, to change your marriage, to change your household.
So what are the details? Every session will be 90 minutes. It's going to be live and very alive with Sharon and myself. We're going to meet via Zoom. We are going to start December 2nd, and we did it especially on a time that is comfortable to the, people who are coming from the East Coast, the West Coast, and we listed here all the dates.
I think what's really important to understand is that you do not need to wait for your partner to do this, okay? We would love to have your partner with us, but you can actually change your relationship all by yourself. When you change the dance in marriage, your partner has to learn the new dance. That's how it works. You change the steps, your partner has to learn the new steps. So you can do this all by yourself, or you can do this with your partner. The difference in the 90-minute workshops is that they give us more time to go into more details with you, and they give you the opportunity to bring your stuff in, wrestle with it, let us in on what's going on, let us help you, problem solve or shed light on the different parts of your marriage.
There is something that I want to add. For those of you who were in a relationship and looking for a relationship, we said it before. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you can expect for different results. So this course is also to help you understand the concept of how you perceive marriage, how you perceive relationship, how you perceive emotional connection. And when you don't have the right perception for self, or you don't even know how to perceive yourself, how can you invite something different into your life? How can you have something different waiting for you?
We're going to leave you with this. Relationships are living things. They don't thrive by accident. They thrive with care, careful attention, and courage. The fact that you're here today means this is speaking to you. You care. This resonates. And maybe this is something that you're struggling with. And that means you already have the first ingredient to change. We
Thank you,
want to
guys. We want to take a minute. If you have a question, if you have a comment, we're gonna stay here for a few more minutes with you. But thank you for taking the time. Thank you for coming in. We really hope we put a lot of work and thought into this presentation. We really hope we sparked a thought, we sparked a question, we sparked something for you. And we would love, we are going to be here for a couple more minutes. If you have a comment, a question, and if not, it was great to see you.
You have our contact information here. We encourage you to stay in touch, even if you are not ready to sign up today. We encourage you to stay in touch. Follow us on social media. Here's our email address, our website. Stay in touch and stay up to date with what we're offering and the different things that we're putting out there. I'm so glad to read these comments, that it was so useful to you, that you guys enjoyed it.
We will have future workshops. We have your emails. Once we do, we're gonna send emails, but connect to our Instagram. We have very funny and relatable videos there, informative as well. So please stay in touch with us.
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for taking from your time. We appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. And we hope to see you again. We hope to see you in this awesome 6-week course. It would be really great to get to know you guys and to just dive in. Thank you guys for all the comments, all the supportive comments, all the hearts. You are awesome.
Guys.
Bye, guys. Somebody wrote, of course, it was just for girls. I am determined to get the guys in here. Determined.
I'll feel that.
And it was not just girls in here.
That's funny. All right, guys. If you have any questions, we were the only couple. Yeah, you're amazing.
That actually speaks volumes.
I'll send you the recordings of you guys during the presentation. Should be funny. Thank you, guys. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.